This guy for 98 minutes is locked in. And those are difference makers, not the ones who are killing it, like what are doing what Pep Guardiola wants them to do, swing the ball left to right, infinite amount of times in a game. And you say, oh my goodness, look how many touches he made, look how many percentage progression, look at this, look at that. No, look at the body of work, what the guy's done in order to support the team and get them across the line, whether it's in the first minute or the last minute or a plethora of minutes throughout the game.
You know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy too about the whole Kane thing? Manchester United was saying that Kane was too expensive, but we spent almost 80 million on unproven person that only started for Atalanta like 12 times. A young kid in Højlund. We spent 78 million on him. No, Højlund I'm talking about. No, Højlund. And then now we're also in the market again for another young. What's the guy's name from Portugal? It's João Neves. Yeah. So now there's a bit of. I think they said United tried to put a 60 million. Was it 60 or 50? But they're asking for 90 mil for this kid. So it's like, okay, so we could just gut in Kane and be done with it. Kane would have still given us another 3 years.
Hashtag bring football back. I love it. All right, let's go. I just need to make that comment because we all know what happened last time was a damn shame. We all know what happened to Lewandowski was a massive robbery. And I don't care what Messi says about, I called him to be. Stop acting like you're Mr. Nice Guy. He was robbed. You didn't rob him. He was robbed, and you should have said something more unequivocal in response to that. But everyone's, Messi doesn't look at accolades, doesn't he? If he didn't, Messi would not have the audacity to enter France to pick up the Ballon d'Or after the way he left PSG and just having, you played great for 4 weeks. Ooh, good for you. Where were you the rest of the season? Where were you the rest of the year? Have some decency, Messi fans. He loves rewards as much as any human being because he's a human being.
Definitely looking forward to catching up on the end of the season review. Obviously, we've got lots to talk about. Your team are champions of Europe for the 15th time, is it?
If you ain't know, 15,
now you know.
baby.
15. If you ain't know, now you know. Congratulations on that. Definitely a fun finals. We can briefly touch on that, obviously, before we move on to. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the best 11, Europe's best 11 for the season. We're going to start from the keepers all the way to the forwards. And then we'll be talking about Ballon d'Or favorites. And also we'll be touching on the upcoming Euros. Also, if we do have time, we'll be talking on the Madrid, Barcelona, and Manchester United, what those clubs need, especially Barcelona and Manchester United. A lot of surgery needs to be done at those clubs. Arsenal has, just needs to figure out the missing pieces. I think Arsenal just needs to figure out missing pieces. Madrid is more of what other toys can they add to their collection. That's basically.
You call them toys now, man? Come on.
Yeah, Madrid. What toys they can add to the collection? That's what it is.
The only toy we need in Madrid is number 16. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, and who's this number 16?
Number 16 is the 16 Champions League.
Oh, the 16 champ. Oh, okay. That's an extra toy. I see that. Who we think our Ballon d'Or favorites are, since it's still part of.
Okay.
Best performers.
Yeah, I'm not going to be shy. It's very easy. His name is on the screen. Vinicius Junior. There's no one who has been as decisive, as critical, as valuable to their team. Shown it in Europe, shown it in his league. Yet to show it in Copa. We'll see. I think for me, it's between 4 people. And it'll be determined by the summer games. Right, I'm talking the Copa and Euros. It's Kylian Mbappe, in no particular order. Kylian Mbappe, depending on what he does with France. Vinicius Junior, depending on how far he takes Brazil, not necessarily Brazil winning. Yeah. Bellingham, if he has a big role, because right now England is pretty packed. I mean, you got Phil, you got Harry. You got Saka, you got Rice, you got players, you got ballers. Let's see how they do, and let's see his role in it. And then you have Harry Kane, of course, because he made it to the semis. He best striker in the world. Numbers show it. Top goal scorer, breaking Bayern records, and the first time he's there. Tying Bayern records, Lewis records, first time he's there. And he will most likely have a big part to play in England's tournament. And if they win, like I said, between him, Bill, and Jude. The last person I'll say an honorable mention is Phil Foden. I just don't think his game style is going to transfer into the tournament because one, Southgate is a garbage manager. He's not a coach. And two, he's a system player. This is the problem. This was the whole argument about Messi. This has been a whole argument about a lot of Barcelona players. Once they left Barcelona, that's it. All of a sudden, that magic, that vision, that they were seemed like a step behind because they don't have that system around them. They don't have that, this is where the space is going to be. This is where the player is going to be. Like it's not intuitive. Yeah. And that's where I fear that Foden next season, when he has more attention on him, is going to get exposed unless he takes his game to the next level. And that's why Jude Bellingham, for me, has been phenomenal because he came to a team that wasn't playing around him. He came to a team that had to change how they played because Benzema had left. Right? He came to a coach, a manager that wasn't forcing anything or playing style for you to learn. He was saying, go out there and show your work. Yeah. You know your structures. You know your positions. You guys are intelligent ballers. And he showed it. Right? And that's why he's able to transfer to the friendlies and the qualification matches that happened this season. Because just like Harry Kane, right? Harry Kane has never been in a true system. He's been in multiple different types of systems. He's been in true systems with Conte. He's been defensive systems with Mourinho. He's been also in weird systems with Espirito, right? Right. He's also been in a high pressing, high intensity with Tuchel and Pochettino. So I see that transferring. That's my only beef with that's my only concern with Phil Foden. Let's see. It's his first breakout season, like I said. But I do see that ceiling of a system player who now got into the team because one KDB got injured, got a long-term injury. Gundogan was gone, and Bernardo Silva, didn't step up the way Foden did. And when your coach, arguably the best coach in the world, I think it's Ancelotti's, but arguably the best coach in the world and Pep Guardiola, he doesn't play you for so long because you're not ready to fit the system, then it goes to show you that your breaking form is most likely because you've adapted to the system, not that you yourself have become this phenomenal superstar on your own, showing your ability to like KDB can work in anybody's system. He's shown it. Time and time again. He's not just a system player. Let's see what Foden does. But yeah, those are my top four. Foden, honorable mention. I don't really see anybody else who has the ability to come into this conversation other than Harry, Vinny, Mbappe, and Belly.
I think you've kind of, you've definitely said it. Yeah, you've definitely said most of the things that I would have said as well. In terms of the top three or top four favorites for the Ballon d'Or, and it's kind of hard because, like you said, you've got to pick people who are not just doing it for the team, but their teams are actually doing something as well, right? We can't just be saying, "Oh, we're going to pick this guy because they scored 50 goals," but if they
that's why Mbappe for me is not worth in the conversation if France don't win and he plays a big role, right? Like Mbappe for me is only in it because he's Mbappe and France is a stacked team.
Yeah. Also, the year that he should have won it for me was probably the year, the World Cup year for me. Like just looking at what he did for the French team.
Who won it that year? Was it
Messi? Because Argentina won it. Yeah, that's for me. Right. Even though he didn't win,
you're talking about 2023 year.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah. To me, that's when he should have won it. I think because I think he should have won it then. Because what other player on planet Earth was doing could do what he did at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not many players that are doing at that level. But obviously, Messi seems to show up at the when someone's work when somebody's actually due for a trophy. Messi shows up. It's like,
Yep.
I'm taking this one. I'm taking this
Yep.
one. So it's a hard one. It's kind of it's hard to say who. But I do agree with the whole Phil Foden point. Is players that play for Man City have always been very vocal about them. Is you see a lot of these Portuguese players that play at City, your Cancelos, your Diaz, your all these guys. I see them for Portugal. They're not saying that they're bad, but they're just not the same. Oven, what's his name? Rodri. Rodri is he's great for Spain here and there, but he's not the same Rodri that we see at City, right? And not just for their faults. I think sometimes I need to see more from that player versus, okay, like you said, everything is kind of designed for you. And that's my beef with KDB as well. That's my beef with KDB is I know KDB when he was younger in Germany and all that, he was a good player. And this is not me discrediting players and saying players are not good, but I think a lot of the hype that a lot of these players get is due to the system. Same thing with England. And
Wait, hold up. Are you saying KDB has not shown that he's not a system player? Because the guy shows up for Belgium. The guy shows up for Belgium in the way that his Belgian teammates don't show up. Right?
When did he show up for Belgium?
In the
hasn't carried that Belgium team.
In the World Cup, the season that year they should have won when Hazard when they beat Brazil. Remember that phenomenal? He had a golden assist in that game. Also,
KDB?
KDB always shows up for Belgium, man.
No, yeah, but that was Belgium's golden generation. I'm not.
Still,
okay.
I mean, this is England's golden generation, and Phil Foden ain't done jack, man. Just saying.
I don't know. I just haven't seen enough of. I haven't seen enough of KDB for Belgium, but that might be my bias. That might be my bias. I'm not saying that he hasn't done stuff for Belgium. That would be ridiculous to say, but I don't think when it mattered, he was there. You know what I mean? I don't think he was.
I mean, even with City, when it mattered, KDB kind of just falls away as well. I mean, that's been his biggest problem in the last few years. But one other, though, Rodri, when it comes to Spain, he shows up, and I think it's only because Spain literally played that Pep Guardiola Barcelona system. So he does show up, but exactly, he's going from one system to the same system. So
and also his position is also different too. Also, his position.
No, he plays the same position, the 6.
No, that's different too, in the sense of you might not necessarily those positions you might not necessarily see. Those positions are harder to kind of see what the person's doing, right? Versus attacking positions is easier to kind of critique when the person is doing well, when the person is doing bad. If that kind of made sense. Certain positions are harder to kind of critique because so I'm not maybe the Rodri example might not have been the greatest example to have used, but in all, I can't disagree with what you've said. I think Vinicius Junior, it's about time. And it's not the thing with Vini for me. Do you feel as a fan of Real Madrid, do you feel like Vini could give you more, but it just doesn't?
100,000%. One of the things about Vinny, and a lot of people are like, oh, Vinny, he's going to win the Oscar, he should win the Ballon of crying. Those fans are just hurt in their feelings, and they don't know how to deal with their emotions. Vinicius Junior has been targeted because of his response to targeting. Yep. The targeting is improper. The targeting is wrong. But Vinicius Junior should adjust and adapt, and with maturity, know that if I don't do anything, they're going to look more like idiots. And that's what I'm hoping for him for the next couple of seasons. Because now that Mbappe is there, yes, it's his team. But Mbappe doesn't react. One thing I'm good about Mbappe, his mentality is top notch when it comes to antagonizing. One thing he didn't pick up from playing with Neymar was that nonsense, which I really do appreciate and acknowledge, and I give him props for. So hopefully, because Bellingham coming this season kind of exacerbated Vinicius's feeling of entitlement of I should be able to talk to the ref. I should be able to I can get in your face, because Bellingham is also kind of a hothead as well. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping with Mbappe there's going to be like this focal point of this guy is come into this team. He's scoring goals. He's giving assists. He's playing phenomenally, and he's also not creating problems. Also, I'm hoping that it'll take defenders and the attention of teams away from Vinicius. So then Vinicius can shine a little bit more because then he won't be attacked, and he won't be attacked verbally or physically from fans and on the pitch. So I agree. I think Vinicius is only reached 80 to 85% of his potential. I think the last 10 to 15% is tied to his mentality throughout the game because he is always locked in. He always wants the ball. He doesn't shy away from it. He loves his game. He loves the game, and he shows it. And when people are down, he's always up. He's ready to go. That's the difference between him and Rodrigo. And I honestly believe that he has that in his locker, and he's going to get to that next stage. And Mbappe helps with that more than takes away from it.
Yeah.
Because I think Vinicius is more of a creator than he is a goal scorer. So and he developed that from I think he mastered that while being with playing with Benzema, and having someone like Mbappe is going to show that this guy is closer to Messi than he is Ronaldo. His vision is incredible. His creativity is phenomenal. His dribbling creates unreal opportunities, and if you have a striker or someone there who's a goal scorer, that he can drop the ball off to cross it to feed it too quickly, like you saw in the Champions League, that outside the foot cross that he put to Valverde and volleyed the first time for the third goal. Yeah, always a party in this neighborhood. That's exactly what Vinicius has been doing and has always done, and I think that's the last piece of his game that everybody needs to really see is that this guy, he's actually a number 10 more than he is a number 7, and who knows, maybe in the future he might. I doubt it, but I doubt it. He sees himself more of as number 7, but I think he should take the number 10 from Modric and Mbappe take the number 7. But hey, let's see.
I think it's going to be interesting because I think players like him like that space, which he's not going to get as a 10, right? As a 10, he's not going to get as much space as if he were on the wings to do what he does best, right? So I think for now that he's young, he's got the legs. And I think Kel's said he made a great point too during the Champions League finals, and he said a thing with Vinicius is a lot of times he's trying to beat players with speed, with his pace, versus with his skills.
And Kel's a Madrid fan. And we've had this argument multiple times. I don't fully agree with that because he doesn't kick it and run. He will let the ball do the work so that his speed can win. He doesn't do the Adeyemi sprint into space or Alphonso Davies kick and run. He doesn't. He would rather dribble at you at pace. That's where he uses his pace. But he's not kicking it and running like you see even like what Gareth Bale used to do, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'll or Martinelli. That's where I'll disagree because the difference between him and Martinelli, right? Because you can say Martinelli does the same thing. The difference between him and Martinelli, he dribbles with his head up. Vinicius Junior, I rarely see him dribbling with his head down. It's actually phenomenal to watch. It's like the whole Messi situation. Yeah. It's like Messi. He's dribbling at you at pace, and so your legs would get fumbled up against tumble against your legs cross each other and you tumble. That's where I disagree with that. He has not been a pace merchant for a while. He is a dribbler and he dribbles at you at pace. And for me, I think he's going too fast that he's been adapted, but he's not making all the best decisions while dribbling at pace when he gets the opportunity to make the pass because he's trying to beat the player rather than trying to create. And this season, he's had to beat the players because he's been the creator and the goal scorer. That's why I think with Mbappe, he doesn't have to be the goal scorer anymore. So he'll be moving to create for goals for his teammates coming into the box late or coming into the box at the same time as when he's getting into the box. That's why when Benzema was there, we saw this Vinicius Junior that everybody's like, oh my goodness, this guy's actually world class. And this season he's changed. He's been more of a striker. We rely more goals on him. So he feels like the way he goes at it, like I need to be the one to score. Next season he won't have that pressure on him. It's gonna be I just need to create for my team. That's it. So that's it. I disagree. I gotta disagree with that.
And that's fair enough. And I think the whole Vinicius thing too, if you watch the Vibe with Five where Kyle Walker comes on, and I think it might also be a scenario where, because we've seen Madrid and City paired up quite a lot in the last couple of seasons, and I think they have that healthy competition going on, Vinicius and Kyle Walker, where Kyle Walker is like, you can never get past me, and I think Vinicius is trying so hard to beat him
yeah.
at it. And I think
I will say that Walker is the only player that he actually uses pace
in those games where he's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I was just gonna say real quickly that Walker is the only one I've seen him utilize his pace, and he does it incorrectly. You're not going to beat Walker on pace. You need to beat Walker with trickery, and 1-2s and stuff like that. That's the only thing I'll say. When he plays against Walker,
like Luis Diaz,
it's weird.
Whew,
yeah, exactly.
Put him up. That was nasty. That was nasty.
I think the way he plays against Walker, I agree with you in that 100%. He's trying to have a competition of speed with the ball rather than trying to be tricky. Because the way he played when he has pace over people, he doesn't really use it. Like Kimmich, he really uses pace. He dribbled at him at pace and ate his food. Same thing with Ryerson, right? Same thing with who was there playing on the right before when Walker missed the first leg? Akanji, I think, was playing on the right.
Yeah.
Right. He has them beat on pace, but he didn't try to use his pace. He tried to use trickery to get them on the wrong foot and then beat them. So yeah, when it comes to pace merchant, when it comes to Mbappe for Walker, for some reason, he likes to have this race of, oh, the world thinks you're the fastest fullback and you have my number. I'm gonna beat you on pace. No.
Yeah.
And that's why Rodrigo playing on the left, when we overloaded the left, that's why Rodrigo was doing so well, because he wasn't using pace. He was just dribbling him into a spiral.
Yeah, that's crazy. Who else would you put on there? So we said Vinicius. We talked about Mbappe. We talked about Foden.
We talked about Harry. We talked about Harry and Bellingham, right?
Like Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I don't know if Harry Kane is even on that list.
If England wins and Harry Kane is top tournament goal scorer, and Harry Kane does what he does, if it's not Bellingham or Foden and it's Kane, let's assume Harry Kane. So if Foden and Bellingham, they have good tournaments, but they're not the reasons why. And it's clear they're not the reasons why, numbers wise and eye test wise, that England wins. It has to be Harry Kane. Right? If Brazil doesn't win the Copa, right? Brazil doesn't win the Copa, and Vinicius Junior doesn't do too well. Who else can it be? It's what, Rodri?
But I still believe that Vinicius should still be over Kane, which I'm sure you do agree with. But I don't think the Euros should be the Euros and the Copa. I feel like they are the addition. Which actually, to be fair, historically, I guess players who have won those tournaments, like the World Cup, for example, typically ends up becoming the Ballon d'Or winner. Like, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I still feel Kane is just, I don't know. I don't know.
For me, he's the fifth. I just threw him in there because I think
you got to put Haaland, and at that point, Haaland is probably over Kane.
Man, Haaland didn't do anything in EPL. He didn't do anything in Champions League, and he's not even make the Euros. He didn't even make the Euros, Norway, man. Like, you can't even put him in there. Right? Like, there's no other striker. After that, if it's not Harry Kane, next is going to be a midfielder. And then who is it going to be? If it's not Bellingham, it's Rodri, right?
No,
That's what I'm saying.
Rodri's not getting that. He's not glossy enough for that. He's not getting
That's what I'm saying. I mean, for me, actually, before Harry Kane, it will be Kroos if Germany wins. If Germany wins, I think Toni Kroos will get a Ballon d'Or. And if Brazil bomb out of Copa and Germany wins, I can see Toni Kroos getting his first, and of course, it would be only Ballon d'Or.
You know what? I would like that shout because we need to tame these young football fans, man. Because we can't
Yeah,
just
I
be
know.
relying on those goal scorers to be winning getting all the accolades. Like my
I
man
agree.
Bernardo Silva said, right? It seems like it's only the
Yo,
strikers that get all the praise.
it's so true, and it's funny because a lot of people now, you said it, the young football fans, they saw Ronaldo and Messi, and they think those numbers, those goals, assists, that's everything. Yeah, it's everything when you're that far ahead of everybody. When you're not that far ahead of when you don't have that out and out, oh, you're scoring, 50, 60, 80 goals a season, a calendar year, then there are other things that come into play outside of these stats of goals and assists, and that's why you get Modric winning it in that one year, and why I think Tony Cruz has this. Tony Cruz has this something special, that I think he's able to showcase in coming out of retirement. And Germany looks frightening right now, man. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're the most underrated, and we'll talk about that in the last segment. But yeah, I think Tony Cruz will be the next one up. You're right,
Yeah.
not Harry Kane.
You know what? I think Tony Cruz, speaking as a neutral among these players, yeah, I think Tony Cruz would definitely be a good shout. That's the one. Because I was trying to think of a name that we haven't thought about that's not on this list that could be. And I think Tony Cruz is that player that could do it. So
But before we start that segment, I just need to make
yeah,
a call out, a quick shout out. I think Messi had the best season in MLS of all time and should win the Ballon d'Or.
just saying. You never know. You never know. What
This
actually
guy's gonna come
happened?
and
I
steal it.
heard something happened in the last game. Actually, he lost his first so this is the first game that he scored in that they lost. I think the last game they lost
Aw,
last. So it's the first MLS game that he scored in that they lost. So I guess the
aw,
Messi magic is finally fading away. Fading away.
oh my
But this
goodness!
is
The
not a
fact that
Messi hate. This is not a Messi hate channel. We're just we just want football back. We just want football back.
we
That's
just
all.
want hashtag bring football back. I love it. I
Bring
love it. All
football
right,
back.
let's go.
And
I just
speaking
need
of
to I just need
football,
to make that comment because we all know what happened last time was a damn shame. We all know what happened to Lewandowski was a massive robbery. And I don't care what Messi says about, oh, I called him to be. Stop acting like you're Mr. Nice Guy. He was robbed. You didn't rob him. He was robbed, and you should have said something more unequivocal in response to that. But everyone's, oh, Messi doesn't look at accolades, doesn't he? If he didn't, Messi would not have the audacity to enter France to pick up the Ballon d'Or after the way he left PSG and just having, oh, you played great for 4 weeks. Ooh, good for you. Where were you the rest of the season? Where were you the rest of the year? Have some
yeah,
decency,
like
Messi fans. He loves rewards as much as any human being because he's a human being.
being yeah,
That's it.
that's the quiet one. That's the quiet one. That's all. It's the quiet human being. But no, you're right though. That entire PSG, like, I can't even remember. Like sometimes I actually forget that Messi played for PSG. To be honest, like
I'm sure
in my
Messi wants
mind,
to forget that he did
he
too.
went from Barcelona to Inter Miami.
To
Well, won the
like
World
the
Cup and then
MLS. Yeah.
won the World Cup, and then it was MLS at that
You're
point.
right. That's exactly what happened. He went from Barcelona to Argentina to Miami. That's exactly what he did.
Oh boy, and said had to name on the way.
Oh, in the waiting room. Oh, poor guy.
So, speaking of needing football back, obviously some of our teams like Manchester United. Obviously, Evie's not here to talk about his Barcelona. These are teams that, like I said, need surgery, need football structuring back into their clubs. But do you want to go first in terms of since you can represent Arsenal and Madrid? Um, Obviously, Madrid is kind of like I said earlier on, you guys are just in the situation where you have
We're
enough
adding
space in your
toys.
garage to add a few more toys to your collection. So I guess we could start with Madrid and kind of work our way
Sure.
in terms of what you think Madrid needs now that you guys have your 15th Champions League. Uh, and at this point, if I were a fan, I don't even know what I would want if my team just won the 15th Champions League. was second in the last 5 years? Is it
Second in the last 3 years, my friend.
in the last 3 years? Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and now obviously it's official. You guys got Mbappe. So hey, from a Madrid fan, what do you guys need to? I guess I don't know what other level you guys need to get to at this point.
The only thing Madrid fans ever, I'm talking those alive, I'm talking those who are past, I'm talking about the age from conscious set of a fan, let's say 8 years old till 65, 85, is a treble. That's what we need. That's what next season is going to bring us.